This was probably the best episode of the series. I'm not just talking about Steins Gate 0. I'm talking about the OG Steins Gate as well. Because what happened within this episode has been built up since the very beginning. I'm talking about the beginning, like the original Steins Gate anime, with Mayuri finding out about the truth. What really happened in the Alpha World line and the Beta World line. All of this, all of the events that's happened in Steins Gate was built up for that moment that happened within this episode. And when you see her find out the truth and she starts crying and breaking down, you're like, oh, like my heart right now. Like it's sad because you have this character that's always been happy, bubbly. We've seen Mayuri always wanting to throw parties. She's always wanted to be the person that cheers everybody up no matter the situation. This has constantly been an ongoing thing with her character since the very beginning, and we've seen this already quite a few times in Steins Gate 0. She's always been that type of character, trying to cheer everybody up. And what happens when the very person that's supposed to cheer everybody up starts getting really depressed and sad, and they need someone to cheer them up. And that's what happened at the end. She kind of found out the truth about what happened, and you can see that she's kind of blaming herself, she's regretting everything, and she realizes that she's caused a lot of suffering for Okabe that he's went through since the very beginning of the series. It's like, yo, the revelations to the way this episode is done, it hurt me. Like, my feelings, man. I got, like, the feels from this episode. It's been a while since I actually could legit say something like that. Like, yo, this series has been like a roller coaster up and down, and this episode, man, it just, full force, just hit me right in the chest. I just did not expect to have an episode like this for this week's episode of Steins Gate 0. So, I want to take a few moments to compliment Daru's character, or the voice actor of him. I am extremely impressed. I really am. And I think many can agree with me while watching this episode. Daru's voice actor nailed every single line. That emotional moment when a character like Daru, that has always been passive, someone that's been very kind, doesn't really like harming anyone, someone that always jokes around, someone that's like, I'm super Hakada and all that. He's always just joking around having fun. When a person like that finally goes in and acts violent or acts very different, like he broke, it really just makes you realize, like, holy crap, like the happiness is gone. Especially when he punches Okabe right in the face. When he hits him, you can see how Okabe's face, like his facial reaction to it, he realized that what Daru just did was something he normally would never do. He doesn't do that. And he even states that after that, he's like, I'm sorry, and he knew that Daru would never normally do something like that, no matter the circumstance, unless it's something very serious. And that voice acting for that scene for Daru, it was impressive, because I felt the emotion in the lines. Like, I know for a fact that most likely the voice actor that was doing that scene probably got emotional, because, you know, this person has been working on this character, like, voicing this character for a long time, voicing the character in the visual novel as well, so you gotta imagine all this time and many hours spent voice acting this character, you might get a little bit attached to them, and you can see that the voice actor of Daru really was showcasing them skills as a voice actor, but also just the attachment that the voice actor has with Daru as a character. Just extremely impressive, blew me away, and honestly the highlight of the episode. I mean, I really love, you know, seeing that scene with Maho and Okabe having that little debate about formulas and stuff, and I loved Mayuri stuff when she broke down as well. Great scenes. I love the build up for all that. But the Daru stuff, personally, that's my highlight, because I just could not believe how good that scene was. But okay, let's talk about what Okabe did and why Daru hit him in the first place, the message there. As we know, Daru, he's always been an innocent lad. He's always been someone that doesn't like being violent, and I kind of already briefly mentioned this. And with him doing what he did, Okabe pushed it too far. He pushed him over his limit, because everybody has a breaking point to where they can't take it anymore. That's usually how it goes for everyone. We're human at the end of the day, and we all have a boiling point, breaking point, where we just can't deal with it. We're done. We get stressed out, we're angry, we say things we don't mean, just stuff like that. And we all know, we have personally firsthand seen what Okabe has went through. We know why he does not want to go back and use time travel. We know this. It's obvious why. Even though we know the ending, like the outcome of Steins Gate, like the original Steins Gate, and eventually he will be happy, or at least a version of him will be happy, it doesn't change the fact of all the suffering he has to go through to get to that point. And this is an Okabe that will never probably get to be happy. He might become the mad scientist that makes the video and all that to try to save the world, but it doesn't mean that he's going to have a happy ending. Once that's said and done, he's by himself, pretty much. He's never going to be able to see Kurisu ever again. Even if it's an AI, he's never going to get to see the original Kurisu, talk with her, be with her. So, this Okabe is going to suffer for the rest of his life. That's just no other option for him, which sucks, but that's how it is. And we know how he is. For instance, we know how his character is, what he's been through, and honestly, I understand why he didn't want to continue anymore. He finally broke. But at the same time, we can not also neglect everybody else's viewpoint. Seeing is believing, but also everybody has their own motives of what they want to accomplish. For instance, Daru and Maho, they want to stop certain events from happening. For instance, World War III, they want to create a time machine to be able to, make sure they save their relative. For instance, Daru trying to save his daughter, have a proper future for her. Maho trying to surpass Kurisu. I mean, there's a lot of motives and all that thrown in. And, with Okabe trying to say, you need to stop this, you can't do this, it's like he's trying to trample on their motives, what they want in their life. And that's what Daru was trying to say. You need to stop being so selfish. Everybody has their own hopes, their own dreams, what they want to accomplish. You have no right to come in and try to take that away from them, which was a huge wake-up call for Okabe as well. Because remember, one of the big reasons why he doesn't want to go back in the past is because he did trample on people's lives. Remember, that was a big thing, a part of his character, and why he didn't want to go back. When everybody was using the D-Mail and changing things with time before he had to correct everything, remember, he's like, I had to go back and trample on everybody's dreams, what they wanted, just to be able to save my Yuri, and then eventually Kurisu died. So when you look at that, he's always been emotional about that. He doesn't want to ruin people's happiness, their hopes, their dreams, what they want. And now he realizes he's pretty much doing the exact same thing, but without time travel. And that was the wake-up call that he received from Daru in that moment. That he was like, holy crap, I'm pretty much doing the exact same thing, but I'm not using time travel this time. So yeah. That's what the message was. Now, let's also talk about the scene with Maho and Okabe and what that kind of meant. Now, as we know, they are kind of like in a similar relationship, but it's not carbon copy like Kurisu and Okabe's relationship was, because obviously there's probably not going to be any romance between them, but Maho and Okabe, they are kind of like rivals. They're both trying to compete with each other to figure out if they can do something. In this case, Maho is a little bit ahead of Okabe in terms of trying to fix the future and figure something out. While Okabe, he's trying to catch up and do his own methods, what he wants to do to be able to stop World War III, but also not have to use time travel. And so he's competing technically with Maho and Daru in this episode or in this series, and that's why she mentioned, like, the face he's shown, he hasn't really given up hope. He's going to continue to try to do something, which means that he may not try to use time travel, but he'll have another option available. He'll try to do something completely different that hasn't been done before, and that's why he seemed very determined or upset. So that was a very nice little scene from Maho and Okabe, and how their motives or ideals or what they want to accomplish also transcends the very fabric of time itself. They're talking about gods and all that, stepping in the foundations of gods, like, where they are, the realm of them, and then also just trying to tamper with other people's hopes and dreams. It was a very symbolic moment, especially with the imagery in the background, or underneath them with the clouds and stuff. I really love the way the water was reflecting the sky. It just showed how much weight their conversation had for these two characters. But okay, anyways, let's also talk about the emotional part of the episode when it came to Mayuri and Okabe, but also the scene with the slow build-up to that moment throughout this episode, and also since the beginning of Steins Gate Zero. As we've seen constantly, Mayuri's always shown this, like, sadder side to her. So we've definitely seen this in Steins Gate Zero. We've seen it a few times in the original Steins Gate, but Okabe was able to keep it together and kind of make it to where everything seemed okay. Even though Mayuri was noticing things or remembering things from other timelines or thinking about other timelines, she was always kind of kept out of it, and she didn't really know what was going on. And she was able to kind of remain happy for the most part because of how Okabe was able to continue pressing forward without breaking down. Since Steins Gate Zero happened, he's not really trying to hide his misery, his sadness, what he went through, and Mayuri has somewhat of an understanding what's happened, like time travel and stuff, but she doesn't have a full grasp of it until this episode, when she heard the argument between Okabe, Maho, and Daru. And when she heard it, you gotta imagine how she feels. Number one, she realizes the person that she cares about the most is suffering because of her. For instance, everything that he's went through this past year within the Steins Gate story is pretty much thanks to her. She realized that. Like, he had to sacrifice someone he obviously loved that was deep within his heart, had to sacrifice her just to save his childhood friend, Mayuri. She realizes how painful that must be, and she blames herself, and she realized that maybe she shouldn't have talked him out of going back in the past, because she now blames herself why he's so miserable. And I think that kind of explains the opening song now when you see Mayuri stepping into the time machine and all that. I believe she might try to go back in the past. Instead of Suzu, she might be the one to go back in the past. And the reason why I think that is because she's one that would definitely want to help out Okabe no matter what, because she realizes that she's caused him a lot of suffering. She would want to tell him to do another time, like, another chance, to give it another chance, don't give up. And I feel like something badly is going to happen, which, I don't even want to begin to imagine something bad happens. But yeah, there's a lot of great things throughout this episode, and I just feel bad for Mayuri because she's been, kept in the dark for a very long time, and now she finally knows the truth, and, she realizes that all the problems that's happened in this past year, it's thanks to her. And I just really wonder where her character is going to go now, and how she's going to try to change, or what is she going to do anything for Okabe. I'm very curious about that. But I also like how Okabe is trying to keep everything together, acting like everything's okay, but then he realized that, the jig is up. He can't do it anymore. He cannot lie to her anymore. He has to tell her the truth, which that's the emotional part about the episode. The lies are gone. He can't lie anymore. He has to legit be open with Mayuri about what has happened. But that's pretty much about it when it comes to this week's episode. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Did you enjoy this episode? Did you hate this episode? Please be honest in the comments below. And if you enjoy my content, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. And if you want to get notified for whenever I upload a video, please click the bell icon down below. And with that, Chibi out.